answering and go backwards. Pressure to develop housing means developers are building single-family homes on farmland that is farther and farther away from support services such as utilities, schools, and adequately sized roads. What steps does the county need to take to support infrastructure improvements, protect farmland, open space, and encourage affordable housing?
Well, this is going to sound like I'm ducking the question, but this is what the mayor's role in all this comes back to budgeting. What I've been doing, particularly in East Knoxville, since I've run several routes when I was a UPS driver, and I ran Coreyton. And I looked at this question, and I said, well, let's drive these roads and find out. We've got to do a better job of knowing what we have. The traffic on East Emory, starting out here on, what do we got going? Bloody 11W, all the way over in Blaine. I mean, that road can't handle what's there now. You got shoulders on that this deep. We've got to take that, those got to be budgeted in and fixed. The mayor's job is two things: budget and administrate. In order for these developments to happen, we got to look at what we've got. Some of them just flat out aren't going to work. And somebody's got to stand up and say, okay, we can do this, but it's going to cost $2.5 million to do it here. Because this is what we have to do to upgrade our drainage. Here's what we're going to have to do to upgrade the road. Here's what happens in the traffic count. We don't have the facilities to put this neighborhood here. The other thing they're going to have to do, especially in East Knoxville, is reach out to the communities better. That's one thing I'm going to be looking at. I can make sure our engineering program is not corrupt. But what I'm finding is that the majority of our lifers, the people that are doing this from administration to administration, are pretty good at their job. It's what they're being told to do and how they're being forced to operate that is the problem right now. The mayor can take the bully pulpit, but it's not my job to advocate for developers as mayor. It's my job to advocate for the community. Does this work for us? And if it does, you say, okay guys, there's always going to be people that like and don't like any given project. We have to start looking at, is this going to help us all? Will this raise everybody's property values and not just make that developer money? All right, well, that's, like I said, I feel like I'm ducking the question because the mayor's duties are so limited. But as I said, nobody's done this job in 25 years. I mean, just because the mayor's job is limited doesn't mean nobody needs to do it. It just means it needs to be done right and honestly.
Should I repeat the question so we can refresh where we are, or y'all just want me to get going here? So the question was, pressure to develop housing means developers are building single-family homes on farmland that is further away from infrastructure. What steps does the county need to do to support affordable housing and protect farmland and open space? So Bob touches on a good point there, that the mayor does have some responsibility in this stuff and has a lot of control over budgets and has a lot of control over who sits on the boards of various government county agencies. But I think the number one thing we can do to support affordable housing and maintain the character of our rural areas is to follow our development plan. We're currently in the process right now of remaking a development plan. It's started under the current mayor, so it may need some adjustments. But the important thing is to have a consistent plan and to follow it. Every time I go to county commission meetings, every time I go to city council meetings, the entire agenda is exemptions to the zoning rules. And that's a problem. We need to encourage developers to build where we have the infrastructure already. If we intend to grow in a direction and a developer wants to build over here, we need to tell them, good luck. That's not where the infrastructure is going, right? Just because a developer can get a cheap piece of land out in the rural area doesn't mean that we're obligated to connect them to all of our services. And developers need to understand that before they build. We don't need to be given we're supposed to have a system of carrots and sticks, right? Carrots to get our markets to operate in the way that we want them to get them to build the things that we want, and sticks to make sure that they follow the rules. Currently, all we've done is dump a basket of carrots on the ground and ask the developers to have a feeding frenzy. People are coming here, and we need to develop, and we need to develop responsibly. And that means environmentally conscious, that means conscious of our workers' health and safety, that means conscious of the traffic we're creating and all those things. So we need to stop letting developers build whatever they want, where they want, and follow our plans. We need to densify our corridors. We need to create walkable spaces, yes, even in the county. Well, the baseball stadium is the next question, so I'll try not to get too much into that. But there is a way to sustainably develop with what we have that doesn't become a windfall for all these other developers. And I think Bob's right that we need to be concerned about home values, but I'm concerned about renters too. I think it's about 45% of the county rents and 65% of the city. We can't just be worried about property values going up. We need to worry about the people who live and work here being able to live and work here. If we're forcing everybody from the city with rents have risen 30%, in the past year, rents have risen 30% in the city, where do we think those people are going? They're moving out of the county, and the people in the county are getting pushed further out, and all that means more traffic on our roads and more stress on our infrastructure. So we can either let our beautiful county be pulled apart by these market forces as we dump our tax dollars in to accelerate this fire, or we can do something about it and develop responsibly, according to plan, and using our resources to encourage the kind of development that we need to create a sustainable future. Thank you.
Yep.
So can I back up to another question? Well, the $15 an hour deal was, I'm talking about public works people. There are people in this county that don't make $15 an hour.
Absolutely.
So,
Agreed, absolutely.
and I think you have to clean up your own house before you tell contractors they gotta clean up theirs.
I disagree.
Well, why? Why would you not clean up your own first?
Oh, I didn't say we shouldn't clean up our own. I'm saying it shouldn't stop us from telling contractors they need to do the same
hours.
thing.
Yeah, and then you can tell them what to do.
Well,
But in the
if we
meantime,
wait until we're perfect to do something better, we're never going to do anything.
I don't know that that's perfection, $15 an hour, like you say. It's not.
I agree, it's not enough.
Exactly a living wage anymore.
It's not.
But it
It's
used to
about
be.
$23.67 in Knoxville for, I think, a single person and a single burger.
I agree. We agree on that. So anyway, so to the question we have now, I feel like this question was like an odd question in that it talked about single family dwellings in the county and affordable housing in the same sentence, and I don't think affordable housing is big enough to buy a home in the county, at least not with today's prices. So, I live in the city, I live in South Knoxville, and they just built an affordable housing unit by Elmington Group, right, literally 2 blocks from my house. Everybody complained about, oh, there's gonna be traffic, we're never gonna be able to get out of here, none of that happened. Once it was built, everybody comes and goes at different times of day, and it's worked out really well. So I think even in the county, you can do that type of affordable housing. You can't plan for future growth if everybody has a single family home. Nor can everybody afford one of them. So I don't know why, I think there's some rules, you have to have sewers or something but the sewers go way out into the county, so you could do the same type of affordable housing that we have in the city. So that's, to me, that would be, and I think also we need to look at the zoning. I think, until when you're not in office, you don't really know what goes on. So I think you have to look at the budget and see how